Yeah. 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 Mic check, mic check. Turn me up. Yeah. Yeah. This is the re-rap. Bring it right back. Break it all down. Put the truth on the track. Old school flavor. New school facts. If you want to hear it straight, we gon' give you that. Yeah. This is the re-rap. Rewind that. From the first hot take to the cold hard stats. Sit back, press play, let it snap. Welcome to the show. This is the re-rap.
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BJ, the DJ. You are now tuned into the Re-Rap. Before we get started, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit that subscribe button. The Re-Rap's available on all streaming platforms, so there's no reason and no excuse for you not to tap in. Let's get to it. Man, so I got this screenshot in my phone. I've been saving it for a while because I really wanted to cover this as an episode. This is talking about... it's the Human Hip Hop Heads Top 10 Greatest List of Individual Career Runs. We've talked about a lot of things on the Re-Rap in previous posts. First of all, shout out to the shirt, Full Blown Records, the new logo shirt. Shout out my man Pudgy, son of a towel man. He's headed to the podcast pretty soon. He got some merch done, and this was one of the shirts he got. So shout out to him for the shirt, man. Appreciate that. Good looking out. But yeah, let's get to it. The top 10 greatest individual career runs. And on this pod, we've talked about numerous lists of top 50, top 100 or whatever, but we haven't really dug deep into those individual careers. And I thought this list was pretty spot on, man. If you talk about individual runs, another topic we're going to cover is 3 album runs. Like if you look at an artist and look at their 3 albums in which really, I guess, captivate their career or really symbolize their career in 3 albums, we'll talk about that too, because I think that's a great list once you start digging into the meat of it. So, but we'll do, this is a list of 10 here. This is individual career runs, and we're going to start at number 10. Number 10, they've got Nelly from 2000 to 2004. Nelly has gone on record with saying that his era of music was one of the toughest to sell because he was competing with a lot of the people that are on this list. He was competing with them for listeners and for viewers. No one hit the ground hotter. I think maybe 50 Cent was the only one who ever, or maybe even Snoop, hit the ground running like hot. When Nelly came out with the Country Grammar track, and that whole first album was amazing. From start to finish. I remember we kept that thing the summer that Country Grammar came out. We kept that song in rotation. Every car you pulled up on in the parking lot had that song playing. So his run from 2000 2004, man, you can argue EI, Tip Drill, Hot in Here, Air Force Ones, Pimp Juice, and then you had the Sweatsuit album. It's hard to say that anybody had a better run than Nelly during 2000 2004. I mean, the people on this list, obviously those years are going to overlap, and you'll see why while that statement holds true to what Nelly said, being difficult to get sales and to get listeners in that era from 2000 2004. Number 9, they've got DMX from 1998 to 2001. X dropped 2 albums his first year. And at one point or another, there was a time when X couldn't miss. Every song, he was the flag carrier for Rough Riders for so many years, and he created that gritty, Rough Rider sound that everyone came to love. And then, but he was the guy carrying the weight. Rough Riders Anthem is a song. Here it is, 2026. That song came out in 98. I still listen to that song to this day. But X had hits, man. Even the albums like Grand Champ that didn't sell well still were great albums. It just got to a point where X just didn't evolve with the times, obviously, right? And as the listeners, as their taste changes, some artists are able to kind of, move with the times and some just aren't. And I feel like that's kind of what happened to DMX. I kind of feel like, and this is a hot take, y'all probably going to drag me for this, I kind of feel like Pac would have been the same way. If Pac would have continued on after Machiavelli, I feel like it would have been hard for him to adapt and adjust to the times. Or maybe he would have been like LL and he would have been able to adjust to more of the ladies vibe. I don't know. It's hard to say, but from 98 to 2001, DMX was can't miss. I mean, it was that simple. Number 8, Ice Cube. 1990 to 1993. Now, this is the Cube that a lot of people grow to love. This was post NWA. This was America's Most Wanted. This was Predator. This was Today Is a Good Day. This was Ice Cube proving what NWA was missing out on when he left. Some people are kind of thrown off from this whole thing, from with this era of Cube, because it was so politically charged, like your Public Enemies and things like that. He was really pro-black. But to me, I thought it showcased how great his songwriting abilities were and how big of an artist he was going to be. My favorite era of Ice Cube is more so mid 90s to 2000s with, the Friday soundtrack, with the War and Peace disc, things like that. When he tried to revamp NWA with Hello and stuff like that, that was my favorite era of Ice Cube. But I understand why people are putting this 90 to 93 as such a pivotal point in his career, because again, he was doing all the writing for NWA. He was the main guy. So for him to leave and start his own thing, it was important for him to establish himself as a force. Number 7, T.I. from 03 to 08. Man, so as I was getting deep into my rap career, T.I. was coming up, man. He was coming up hard too. 24s, trap music, and I'm Serious was a great album, right? But to me, he didn't really hit his stride till trap music. When trap music came out, it changed the dynamics of Southern rap music in general. Other people were doing similar stuff. They were talking about selling drugs. They were talking about the fly cars. They were talking about that. But boy, T.I. did it from a whole different perspective. And some of the people that I was with at the time related more to that perspective than they did some of the other guys in the South that were coming up and doing their thing. Yeah, this 03 to 08, man, this 5-year run of T.I., man, when he said he was the king of the South and he meant it, there were a lot of people that could have contended with that title, but I don't think they were even close to Tip at that point, man. Again, that 5-year run from Tip was unmatched. I don't think there was anybody in the South doing it. There was very few people in other regions of the industry doing it, but that 5-year run in the South for T.I. was unmatched. Number 6, we got Drake, 2009 and 2018, man. Look, I've said this numerous times before. I think Drake is a generational talent. I don't think this generation will see a bigger artist, and one will argue that it's Kendrick. One would argue that it's Cole. One would argue that Jay and Wayne have a relevance in this genre or this generation, but I don't think there's a bigger artist to do it than Drake. And Drake has been on some of the biggest songs with some of the biggest people and really showed out, right? It's a big deal when Drake drops a project, man. He just dropped 3 projects. Now, I know he took a hiatus for many, many years because of the whole Kendrick thing, but I just don't think I don't think Kendrick could have done what Drake did with that. I don't think he could have taken 2 years off and then come back and dropped 3 albums. Kendrick's very melodic or very strategic in what he does and how he does it. Do I think Kendrick won the battle? Yes. But the war, I think, belongs to Drake. And you come out the gate in 24-hour span and drop 3 albums. 3 albums full of bangers too. It's not like, as I've listened to those albums more and more, I realize the significance and the importance of them, and I realize the genius behind it. At first listen, I was like, man, I ain't really digging this, I ain't really digging that. But as months have gone by and I've listened to more and more songs, there's so much there to unpack, right? So 2009 and 2018, it was Drake and it was everybody else. Nobody was matching Drake. Number 5, Lil Wayne, from 2005 to 2009. Man, Mixtape Wayne was a whole different animal. But, and I've gotten drugged for this too, what I'm about to say. Carter 2 to me is Wayne's best album. But I've been a fan of every Wayne project that's come out. It's not that Wayne, you expect Wayne to evolve with the times, but I think the average Wayne fan just gets complacent with what Wayne is used to doing. I know Wayne's got bars, And I want to hear that. I love his genius behind the writing or the non-writing, the fact that he freestyles everything. I love his concept songs. I love just his casual flow, how he just says whatever is on his mind, right? And some of the songs don't necessarily have to make sense, but to me, I just think that's part of his genius. 05 to 09 Wayne was incredible, and it was great to see it firsthand. To me, the Carter one was great. He was getting past mixtape Wayne. He was getting into song Wayne. He was getting into like creating great albums Wayne. But Carter 2 is what really set him aside lyrically from his peers, I think. Carter 3 was probably one of the best. Carter 4, great album. Carter 5, I think, is the highest selling Carter album or whatever. And then Carter 6, everyone kind of slept on. But to me, there was genius there. Sharks with Jelly Roll was one of my favorite songs on there. I think Big Sean absolutely killed that song. Big Sean's another one that's very slept on. And I don't understand why. But yeah, Wayne from 05 to 09, top notch, top tier. Kanye West from 2004 to 2007, they have it number 4. Man, Kanye's story is a weird one, man. He, came in the game as a producer. Everyone's heard the story, how his albums kept getting pushed back. Nobody really wanted to give him time as a rapper. They only wanted him to produce. Man, College Dropout to me is one of the best debut albums ever made. I love it. At first I thought there was way too many skits on it, but then I realized that's part of the genius. Everything on there was relevant. Everything was on there for a reason. But that song, that album from top to bottom is amazing. I quit really listening to after the I think it was Graduation. I kind of took a pass on Kanye for a while. But it was just more so because I didn't relate to what he was going through as far as an artist goes. He seemed a little random at times with his thoughts and his delivery of things. I don't know. I go back now and I listen to albums past Graduation, like 808s and Heartbreaks. And I don't know. I feel like there was so much there that I slept on, or I just didn't give attention to in the beginning that now I appreciate. But the first 3 albums from Kanye West were by far like works of art, and you could tell that he really put a lot into his craft at that point. I guess I feel like after Graduation it became less about the music and more about the process, and for me I feel like it just stalled the creativity and stalled the genius behind what made him great for those first 3 albums. But I don't disagree with him, this being 04 to 07 Kanye West being the 4th greatest individual career runs at all, because to me Kanye West is one of the greatest producers and greatest music creators of our lifetime. So number 3, they got 50 Cent from 03 to 05. Again, I look at this, I said, nobody was hotter than DMX when he dropped, or Nelly when he dropped, but 50 had a run, man. Get Rich or Die Trying, The Massacre, and Before I Self-Destruct. Those 3 albums there, man. He dropped the G-Unit album in that time frame also, which really was different because he dropped Get Rich or Die Trying, sells 800,000 copies the first week. He gets a label deal for G-Unit. So instead of them going straight to The Massacre, he dropped the G-Unit album. And for fans of Buck and people from Nashville, Young Buck is the first rapper you hear on that G-Unit album. So it gave us hope that, hey, Buck made it out. Any of us can make it out, right? And the G-Unit album was great from start to finish. They had production from Dre on there, High Tech. It sold 3-4 million copies, I think, out the gate after Get Rich or Die Trying coming out the gate with 5 million the first year, right? And that album has since gone on to go diamond. And The Massacre was a great follow-up. I think it's pushing 7-8 million copies at this point. But it established 50 as a juggernaut, and not just a top tier. I mean, he was everywhere, and it established him as a force to be reckoned with. Of course, we got into the whole the Murder Inc. issues with Shady Records and all that stuff. That all happened around this time period. But again, 50 couldn't go wrong, man. Anything he did, anything he touched, any song he did was gold or platinum at that point. So, and to counter that, number 2, they've got Eminem from 1999 to 04. Slim Shady LP really shook up the industry when it came out. Again, you got a white rapper, and most white rappers back then were considered corny or cliche, right? Eminem comes out with the Slim Shady LP with that shock and awe rap and the production of Dr. Dre, and it just really, took the hip hop world by storm, right? Everyone wanted a piece of that. Well, then to follow up with the Marshall Mathers LP and you sell 1.4 million copies in the first week, and you've got one of the greatest storytelling songs of all time with Stan, and you've got The Way I Am, and you've got the delivery and the cadence and the anger of that song, just mixed with Dr. Dre's production, man. Like that second album follow up is typically when artists will fall off, but Eminem got bigger. And then he drops one of the hottest albums of all time, one of the greatest hip hop albums of all time with the Eminem Show, where we really get a personal look at all the issues he was facing. We get to see the growth of Shady Records because Obi Trice is on there, D12's on there. You get to see the genius, because this is the calm before the storm, right? The Eminem Show is like what's about to happen before 50 is signed, D12 becomes a powerhouse group, Shady Records grows into this global entity that it becomes, right? So that 3-album run from 99 to 04, then you get the 8 Mile soundtrack in the mix as well. So you get the movie, you get the Academy Award for Lose Yourself, all within this time period. So 99 to 2004 was a hard year for anybody to sell records. And if you look at this, you had Eminem from 99 to 2004, 50 Cent from 03 to 05, Kanye from 04 to 07, Lil Wayne from 05 to 09, T.I. from 03 to 08, and then Nelly from that 2000 to 2004 time frame. So Nelly's point that it was the hardest era to sell records is valid if you look at the people that he was up against during that time frame, right? Eminem from 99 to 2004, to me, that's peak Eminem. And I feel like he's gotten better with time. But there's been some misses, right? There's been some songs that just didn't quite hit like they would have in 2002 in 2026. So, overall, 99, 2004 Eminem's peak, pinnacle, top tier Eminem, untouchable, 0 F's given, right? And then number 1. And a lot of people are going to argue with this because, for one, Kendrick's not on this list. Cole's not on this list. Future's not on this list. There's a lot of people not on this list, right, that people consider to be top dog. Luda's not on this list, right? And one can argue that Luda had a great 3 to 5 year run that was, matching any of these guys, right? But number 1, they've got Jay-Z from 98 to 2003. And I will say this, Jay-Z, Reasonable Doubt changed the landscape of New York hip hop, right? You got more reality rap, you got more of a storytelling rap, but you've got Reasonable Doubt. To me, I've said this before, Reasonable Doubt, Doggy Style is probably the greatest debut album of all time, but Reasonable Doubt's right there with it, I think. I don't take anything away from Reasonable Doubt whatsoever. There are so many songs. Dead Presidents is one of my favorite songs of all time. Reasonable Doubt was a great debut album. In My Lifetime, Volume 2, a lot of people like it better than Reasonable Doubt. I'm not one of those people, but I do feel like once the Hard Knock Life song came out, that's when Jay was really at the top of his game, right? Money Cash Hoes, all of these songs that came out during that time period was Jay establishing himself as that guy in New York, right? The East Coast rap was the East Coast belonged to Jay, period. Other people were coming up. Of course, you had X there, you had Ja Rule, you had 50, you had people coming up in the ranks, but to me, Jay was always the top guy, in my opinion. So Jay-Z from 98 to 2003, they've got that listed as the greatest individual career run there is. I don't disagree with this list, but again, like I said, Cole's not on here, Kendrick's not on here, Luda's not on here. There are several that are left off of this list, but I think they got this right with the top 10. What do you think? Is there somebody they left off? And if they did, what time frame are you thinking they had a great career run? Who do you want to see on this list that's not on here? Did they get this top 10 list wrong? Again, let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to discuss it with you further. So that's what I got. This is the Human Hip Hop Heads top 10 greatest individual career runs of all time. 1 through 10. Again, pretty solid list, I think. So that's what I got. BJ the DJ. This has been a rewrap. Catch you on the B-side.
Working hard every day, taking no days off.